Hello students and welcome to Learn with Hema's class. Today, on demand from some of the students of class 8, I am presenting an appreciation of the poem A Time to Believe by B.J. Mobitzer. In 8th class, the appreciation you write is in point format and not in paragraph format as in class 9th and 10th. So it would be very easy for you to understand it and also to write it on your own without mugging it up. So here I go. Analysis or appreciation of the poem A Time to Believe. Dear students, the appreciation which we are going to write carries 3 to 4 marks in your unit test examination and 5 marks in your semester examination. So this is very simple. Only on the basis of points you have to write and not too in much detail, just up to the point only. So here we go with the following points. The very first point is poem and poet. So A Time to Believe by B.J. Mobitzer, or you can write it in a sentence format. A Time to Believe is a poem written by B.J. Mobitzer. Okay, this is the first point. Second point is theme. In this poem, now we all know A Time to Believe is a poem which tells us to have belief in ourselves. So in this poem, the poet asks us to believe in ourselves, that is, to have faith in our own self, always be optimistic towards life and never give up hope. So this is what actually the theme of the poem is, that we should always be optimistic. So just in a point format you can write it. The third point is tone. In 8th standard, you use these points, tone, structure and stanzas. But in 9th and 10th standard, you don't use these points. So tone, the tone of this poem is serious and inspiring. That means something serious is being told to you, advised to you, and it's inspiring also. Structure and stanzas. Now there are a total of 6 stanzas in which the first 4 stanzas are of 4 lines each and the 5th stanza is of 5 lines. So I have written in such a manner 6 stanzas, 4 lines each in first 5 stanzas and 5 lines in the last stanza. So the last paragraph hai. In the poetries, the paragraphs are known as stanzas. So the last paragraph carries 5 lines, have 5 lines in it, and rest all the 5 stanzas, all the 5 stanzas have 4 lines each. Then next we also have to mention rhyme and rhythm. Now this poem is written in free verse. It does not carry any rhyme and rhythm. So this poem is written in a free verse, that is, there is no rhyme and rhythm in the poem. So if there is rhyme and rhythm, you can mention it. Language and imagery. Largely simple and direct language is used. Imagination is used in 2 instances. Example, angels dancing among the clouds and stardust sky. So language is very simple over here, and imagery, 2 instances of imagination are used. That is angels dancing among the clouds and the stardust sky. Others all are based on real things. So language and imagery is just this much you have to mention. And then lastly you have to mention about figures of speech. Now figures of speech, it would be an advantage to you if you know how to make out what figure of speech a particular line is. It would be to your advantage. So I have already done 2 videos. I have already recorded 2 videos on figures of speech. You can go through them, and with 10 examples I have given in each. So here in this poem, many figures of speech are used in the poem to make it effective. Of course, figures of speech is a very effective tool. So many figures of speech are used in this poem to make it effective. The same way you can write. For example, if you know many figures of speech, you can at least mention 2 or 3. If not all the figures of speech, at least 2 or 3 figures of speech is from the poem. So I have mentioned here 3. You can mention more than 3 also if you know them and if you have time while writing the paper. So first one is epigram. To believe is to know that every day is a new beginning. This is an example of epigram. Next example I have taken as metaphor, that life is a gift. this is an example of metaphor, and the next example I have taken example of repetition and the wisdom of the man in the moon. Here the word the is repeated. So these three figures of speech I have taken over here. There are still many figures of speech. We have alliteration also, we have personification also, but I have not mentioned. 2 or 3 figures of speech are more than enough. Or you mention all the figures of speech and give examples of any 2-3 figures of speech. So this is how we write an appreciation. So it's very simple. The first point being poem and poet, second point being theme, third is tone, then structure and stanzas, language and imagery is your next 6th point, and figures of speech is your last point. So this is done. The appreciation of the poem is done. So these all things, if you note down the points, main points, then it will be very easy for you to write down the figure of speech. In 8th standard also the poetry is given to you, and from after looking at the poem in the question paper, you can write your appreciation very easily. So I hope this video is helpful to you in your studies during this lockdown period. Thank you, and please take care.